Oftentimes in life, we talk about something called control, and we also talk about constraint. Well, we talk about control, but we never truly define what control is, because you can control your actions, your words, your intent, your ability. So you can't really put a limit on what control is. Today, I realized that I didn't control my workout the way I should have. And I didn't use constraint, and I let my ego get the best of me. Although, yes, I did do 135 for 4 sets of 20, I didn't exhibit the control that I would like. Also, testing out the new bench, I did realize that the thickness of the bench, like width-wise, makes it much harder for me to touch my chest with a close grip. Unlike Zach's bench, this bench doesn't allow my shoulders to move as much when at the bottom. I'm able to stay tighter and keep a better position, but the trade-off is, with such a narrow grip, my shoulders cannot rotate to hit my chest all the way. So I'm stopping within probably an inch of my chest, which I really don't like.
Which part looks gross?
I was able to control the weight to an extent, but
the more I looked at it,
I believe that the bar path wasn't straight because I didn't control it enough on the way down.
It's just I looked at it and
my
actually, I don't know what the
control
but it just looks nasty.
of myself wasn't there today.
Is what?
I was not able
What is that?
to make sure that everything was perfect and everything was the same. And I did not put a constraint on myself to make sure that I wasn't lifting more than I should be. Although, yes, I did hit 135 this week, and I said that I was adding another week. I could do 145 next week, but I'm just going to stick with 135 again next week, and I'm going to try to control every rep. Once I can really control everything, then I will be willing to move on to my sets of 15 pause. Until I have the control, I'm going to keep doing this and keep getting better.
The one you just did?
Yeah.
In life, we control many variables. Today, I realized while writing my college essay that the injuries and strains that I've had control of if I got better or if I restrained them this whole time. I constantly thought that this was just a random occurrence. Oh, I strained my hip. Ooh. Must have just been, an off thing. Had an off day and strained my hip.
And then most times when it comes down to squat,
when I was writing my essay, I looked a little bit deeper into the idea of control and how many factors I truly can control myself that can contribute to injury.
I don't remember.
I not only started off with piss poor form and zero control of the barbell while squatting, but I also started off not ego lifting because I wasn't maxing a lot, but I started off in a bad place because I had been taxing my body out from swim practices, and then after swim practices, I would go in the gym and I would squat. And you might think, oh, he's not squatting all that. He's not really squatting all that much weight, so he should be okay and he should be able to recover. But the issue is I was putting excessive strain on my hip, and it wasn't just once a week. I was squatting every single day. I didn't control anything about that squat. And then, as I progressed my squat more and more, my form got better, but I didn't control the weight. I let the weight move instead of moving the weight myself. I also didn't control my ambition when it came to squat. I had this constant want to get better, and in doing so, I would constantly stress my body to a point where my hip couldn't take it anymore. I've since learned that if I don't control my want to lift heavy weight, and I don't put a constraint on what I'm doing, if I don't set it up so that I'm not lifting as heavy as, or if I'm lifting heavier than I need to be, then I'll get hurt. But if I lift at the right capacity for my muscles and possibly lower the weight even more, I'm able to get more of a benefit. When I do start pushing, I've only got a couple weeks in me before my body starts to break down and get unhealthy. We also have control of, are we willing to put in the work? Only you can control the time you have in a day to put in the work. Only you can control if you want to put in the work. Only you can control the money that you need to go to the gym to put in the work. I realized that a lot of people think that they're not in control of the time that they have, and that they can't set aside time to go to the gym, and they can't control everything that they need to control. But not everything is about control. It's just about doing your best. You can't control every situation to a T. So, you just put a little bit more effort, you'll get a little bit more control.
What do you got now?
And if you control more of your training, you get a little bit more benefit. As you can see here, this set is the set where I tried to control the weight. I didn't try to really crank out the reps fast. I tried to make sure that I was pressing and using my triceps. Although, yes, I look like a child kicking my toes. It's bad. Here's my second out of my 3 deadlift days. This is right after I did my bench. I have felt really strong, and I've spent every time I deadlift just trying to control the movement and trying to keep every muscle in check. I've got DOMs and other sorenesses that I can deal with. After watching someone named Ivan Juric, I realized that one of the main reasons my hip flexors hurt so much is because I'm constantly training my glutes and my hamstrings and my back, my calves, but I'm not training my hip flexors to keep up with those muscles. I may be training my abs, my quads, the front of my body, but that inside stabilizer of the hip flexor, it's a combination of the iliac psoas, and your rectus femoris. If you are not controlling, if you're not strengthening that to keep up with the opposite side of your body, you're going to come to issues with imbalances. And when you're imbalanced, your body gets tight, and you have extra straining issues that you wouldn't have if you had that extra strength and muscle. The way I've been training these is in an isometric contraction. So what I do is I sit against the wall, with my back against the wall, and I lift one leg at a time. And the way I do my sets is I lift it up, I go 1, and then I put it back down. And I lift it up, and I count to 2, and then I put it back down. And I lift it up, and I count to 3, and then I put it back down. And then after I get to 10, I switch legs. And then after that, what I do is I lay on my back in a 6 inches position, and I lift my leg up. And I do something I'm going to call windshield wipers or windshield washers. So you essentially, once you lift your foot up, you twist your toes from left to right and left to right 20 times. So it hits multiple different parts of your leg, your internal rotators and your external rotators, while also focusing on that group of hip flexors to keep your hip extended. And then I switch legs, and when I do the rotation of my toes, I do it 20 times on each leg, and I do it 3 times. And going into this training session, I was quite sore from deadlifting and from doing those exercises. I really added those in the other day, and they were absolutely brutal. This is my last set of deadlifts. I decided that this is the perfect positioning and the perfect setup for me. You can see that I'm shaking my legs because they're absolutely fried. This pause deadlift lit every muscle in my quads, my hamstrings, my calves, my upper back. Lit them all on fire. But the technique was perfect, and the pause, although I wanted it to be 5 seconds, 3 seconds was most definitely long enough to really make sure that my positioning is good. I probably should have cut out all these extra clips of me loading weight, and it would have shortened the video. But I wouldn't have had as much time to talk about what I wanted to talk about. So when I set up today, I set up a little bit farther back than I did last time. Just really trying to see if I can get the wedge position comfortably, because I finally figured out how to wedge a deadlift. It is not what I thought it was before. Here I am just getting tight, breathing. And then you'll see I flatten my back. I let my body rock forward so I can breathe a little bit. And then I pull up a little bit after I brace, and then I kind of rock back in and then push the hips forward and up and pause. Was a little heavy though. We'll see how Friday moves. And here's just another replay of that clip without the extra stuff. You can really see how almost perfect my positioning is. Until next time, thank you and enjoy your day.